Hey, this is Jane Hughes. You are listening to the Chilled Parent Podcast, episode 10.
To become a chilled parent that has time for yourself, feels fulfilled and full of energy, can still pursue your personal goals as well as being a present parent with a great relationship with your kids, there are 5 skills you need to master. In this podcast, I take you through each one and share with you information, tips, and real-life stories about how we can implement these in our daily lives as working parents, so you can finally step into the joy of parenthood without losing yourself.
Hello and welcome back. So this is going to be a fun episode today, guys. We're going to be talking about creating your vision of your ideal life. Okay, so obviously last week was a little bit heavy talking about emotional triggers. And the reason that I wanted to do that episode first was because I want that to become part of your vision. So whatever your emotional triggers are, if you've kind of figured them out, or maybe you know them already for some therapy or other coaching you've done in the past, whatever they are, I want your ideal life to incorporate those. So for example, for me, with having that trigger of feeling like people don't care about me or whatever, part of my ideal life vision is to create a community around myself, a community of people that I feel really comfortable and loved and supported by. So developing deep connections and meaningful relationships with people is really important for me, and it's really part of my ideal life vision. I think that once you've done that work around your emotional triggers, and please remember I did say it's not something that you're just going to do and have it all figured out immediately. That's going to take time to unravel. But once you have an idea of what those are, you can factor that in when you do this exercise. Okay, so the reason that I want to do this is because obviously if you want to live your life very intentionally, then you need to know where you're headed. You need to know what your ideal life looks like, and therefore you can start to make decisions that take you towards that. You can start to live your life in a way that is in alignment with your future goals. Without knowing what that looks like, then we get into that place where life just happens to us. I just want to also highlight in this episode, what I am not saying here is that we should be striving for a perfect life that is happy and joyous all of the time. Life is not like that, and to think that that's what you're aiming for can be a very toxic thing, because it's going to make you feel like you're always falling short, because the reality is life is always 50-50. There are many uncontrollable aspects of life, many terrible things that can happen that we have no control over, and no matter how much work we do on ourselves, those things are going to happen and we are going to have to deal with them. And so when I say create a vision of your ideal life, it's like, yes, have a clear vision of what you would like for your life if anything you wanted was possible. But the work that we do inside my program and also inside of this podcast is just creating a lot of emotional resilience, so you're better able to deal with hard times when they happen. It is not about creating a life where hard times do not happen, okay? So I just wanted to make that clear in this episode so it doesn't become a sort of toxic positivity type of thing. All right, so this is going to be a fairly short episode as I just walk you through a sort of good exercises, good questions that you can do to create your vision, and some kind of journal prompts. And I'm also going to just give you a little bit of details around my ideal life and my dreams, so you can kind of see how I go through this process, okay? So here are some examples of some questions that you might want to journal on or think about or create a vision board around this week while you kind of work on creating that vision for yourself and getting really intentional about where you want to take your life, what kind of changes you want to make, okay? This is the fun bit, right? This is really fun. So I want you to just encourage you to have fun with this. Dream big, let your mind wander. Don't think in terms of limitations, think in terms of complete possibility. It's really, really fun to do this. So the first question that I normally ask is, if anything was guaranteed, if anything you wanted was guaranteed, what would your ideal day be like? If you could have whatever you wanted in your day, what would your ideal day be like? And when you do this, you can do it for a day off and you can do it for a working day. And I want you to use a lot of detail. Be really specific around the details and be really specific around the emotions that come up. How are you feeling? Because we really want to connect to those feelings. Those feelings are the thing that's going to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, because we're going to cultivate more and more of those. So I'll give you an example, okay? Whenever I write out my ideal day, because I do this often just to kind of get into that mindset of where I'm headed, I start off and I think about when I wake up in bed, what is my bed like? What does it feel like? What kind of sheets am I sleeping on? What pajamas am I wearing? I get out of bed and what can I see out of the window? What is my bedroom like? What is the carpet like? What are the walls like? What pictures are hanging on the wall? Where is my husband? Where are my kids? So I'm really, really specific. And I think about, what does it feel like to be in that room? What does it feel like to wake up to that view? What does it feel like to wake up in my body? What does my body feel like? And as I'm doing this, I'm really focusing on the emotions. And you might even want to write the emotions down as they come up when you write this out. And then you go through your day. And as I said, you can do it for a working day and you can do it for a day off, or you can just do like one that kind of encompasses both. But again, focus on the emotions, focus on what you would ideally like to be doing, but how you would like to be feeling. Okay. So that's a really good one to do. That's a fun exercise to do. I do that every couple of months, I'd say. Like, I just revisit the one that I've done and add more detail to it each time. The important thing about adding the feelings is that, as I'm going to talk about in a minute, you want to try and create more of those feelings now. So anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. But other questions that you could journal on, and I'm going to make a social media post on these and give it out for free. So if you want a written down version, just head over to my social media and it will be on there this week at some point. So another question would be, what would be your ideal job or your purpose in life? What would your relationship be like? And how would it feel to be in a relationship with that person? Or maybe it's the person you're with now. What does your relationship with them feel like now? What hobbies do you have? And how do you spend your free time? And how does it feel to do that? What experiences would you like to have? Okay. And another thing I should say is you can do this from two perspectives. You can do it from now looking forward. What are the things that you want to do? Or what's sometimes quite powerful is to do it from the perspective of your deathbed. So imagine you're on your deathbed and you're looking back. What would you most be proud of in terms of your life? What would you have liked your relationships to be like? What would you have liked your life to be like? What would you have liked to have spent your time doing? And that can be quite a powerful way to do it, because it connects you with that future version of yourself where you're at the end of your life, which is eventually coming. None of us can get away from that. And the more that you connect to that, the more you appreciate the present moment and the more intentional you will be with it. Where would you like to live, or where would you have liked to have lived? How much money do you want to have? And how would you like to feel about your body? How would you have liked to have treated your body? Okay. So spend some time this week journaling on these. And as I said, I'll post them on my page if you want a written copy. And then really start to think about that ideal vision of your life and think about, what changes do I need to make now in order to step into that version of myself? Now, a really useful tool and powerful tool is, once you have that vision, you think about, how can I step into that version of myself now? So not only do you need to sit and think about, okay, what logistical changes need to happen? It might be that you want to be in a different relationship. It might be that you need to change your job. It might be that you need to go and join a sports team. It could be something like that. I told you to focus on the feelings as well, because if you want to start feeling more of a particular emotion in your future version of yourself and in your ideal life, our emotions are accessible to us now. So the work becomes, how do I feel more of that emotion now in my day-to-day life? And that is going to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. You want to be in that place because you want to feel a certain way. And you can start to feel those emotions now by thinking about changing perspectives, thinking different thoughts that take you into that emotion. For example, if you want to have a lot of money because you want to look around and feel really supported and like your needs are met and to feel like abundant, then start to focus on the things that you have now. Start to cultivate gratitude. Start to look around and feel like sufficient in the moment, like you have everything you need right now, and start to step into those feelings. And the more you step into that, the more you draw that future version of yourself closer, okay? So think about the type of person that you would need to be to have achieved all of those things in your life. So if you think about the perspective of, you're lying on your deathbed, you're looking back at your life, you're so proud of what you've done and the type of life you created for yourself. What type of person are you then? What type of person did you need to become in order to achieve those things? Okay, and really try and think and step into that version of yourself. So what type of person were you? What type of decisions did you have to make? How did you have to think about things? How did you have to shift your perspective? In what ways? Like, for example, in your relationship, if you want to feel like you both really appreciate each other, are you appreciating that person now? Do you need to step more into that now? So what kind of actions did this person take? How does this person think? What kind of decisions do they make? And what kind of, like, how do they feel throughout the day? What kind of qualities do they have? Okay. And write that all down. And your work now becomes developing those qualities, thinking in that way, feeling those emotions right now. And that's how you move yourself closer. It's not just about changing certain circumstances in your life. It's about becoming that person. We're all here because we want to create a better work-life balance. So in your ideal vision of your life, where you have this amazing work-life balance, what decisions did you have to make, and how did you have to think, and how were you feeling? And then how do you step into that now? How do you make some of those decisions now? How do you live your life as if you're that person right now? And that's how we create our life. And that's how we start to move towards our vision, when we start to make those decisions and we very intentionally step into being the person that is going to achieve that. Okay. I hope that that made sense to you. And if you have any questions, as always, just shoot me a message. Just have fun with this. This is a really fun one to do. I love sitting down to do this exercise and just going wild. It's just like, I live in a huge mansion and I own 17 different houses around the world, and each couple say, like, just go wild. Just all your wildest dreams can come true, okay? And it's going to look very different. Like, my version of my ideal life is going to look very different to somebody else's, but just have fun with it, okay? I hope that that's all made sense to you, and I hope that this is like a bit more of a fun exercise to dig into this week. As always, please let me know how you get on with the exercise, and if there's anything fun that comes up for you, or anything that you think, oh, that's strange, I didn't think that I really wanted that, but it seems to come up again and again in my ideal life vision. So yeah, I'd love to hear any feedback. Anyway, okay, have fun with that this week, guys, and I will see you next week. Okay, all right, bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Chilled Parent Podcast. If you'd like to learn more about me and my work, then come visit me at www.livelongandlush.com. That's live, long, and the full word, lush.com. Or connect with me on my Instagram or Facebook at Jane Hughes Coaching. That's Jane with a Y, Hughes, Hughes. See you next time.